Arej's story began in the year 2017 in a university dormitory in the southern region. She started her university life very normally, like any student who goes from the dorm to the university, and she is very resourceful and gets very high grades. But with time, she started to get annoyed by the roommate she has in the room. The roommate says that it means she does not respect her. She stays up at night and is upset, and there is a mess in the schedules between her and her. No, and she is not satisfied with that. She also gathers her friends, stays up late with them, and sometimes answers them without my permission. She says, one time she raised my blood pressure. For the information, I spoke to her about this issue before, and I understood her. But unfortunately, she hears from here and leaves from here, so I had to use it with her. Threatening style because I spoke to her more than once. She said to her, "So-and-so, do not answer your friends without my permission." To the point that one day I went to my lecture, and the doctor did not come, so I had to return to my residence early. She says, "As soon as I approached the door, I heard a recorded voice, songs, shouting and screaming." She said, "I was surprised. I am coming. It is enough. Nor do you say that when I enter my room, as soon as I open the door, I find that the room is foggy. Because of the strength of the smoke, I no longer see them clearly." One of them says, "I was ashamed all the time." She went and opened the window. He said to you, "What do you want to get the smoke out of the room?" The important thing is that I was shocked when I saw that. The feet of the hookah and I saw the smoke. I mean, how did they enter it in the first place? I mean, what a lack of manners. This means without my permission. They came into the room and fixed these things. The important thing is that I exploded. I couldn't bear it anymore. I was paralyzed beyond what I could bear. I was carrying books and notebooks like this in my hand. I threw them forcefully at the door and got down running. The housing administration. That's it. I want to complain about them one by one, and I can't see in the middle of Sebe unless Nora catches me, grabs my hand forcefully and pulls me, saying, I turned around forcefully like that, but my face was in hers. She said to me, "Try it, but you're going to complain. I swear to God I won't ruin your life." She says, I broke her hand forcefully like that, but I gave her my back and went to the administration. Of course, I had a good relationship once with the administrative employee, and she loves me and never listens to me. After I taught her about the hustle and everything, she was shocked. She told me to take me to the room quickly. The important thing was that we went out of the room. She opened the door. We were shocked that no one was there, and the room was tidy and fragrant, as if we were entering a hotel room. A little while later, Nora came out of the bathroom and was drying her hair like this. She looked at us and said, "Yes, it is good. Of course, Noah is a very, very, very rude girl. Her style is rude. A girl who is not respectful at all. Not with the students, not with the female employees, not with the doctors. Everyone doesn't like her." The administrative employee said to him, "I really think you are a group. The girls are here and brought him hookahs and smoke, and I don't know what she said to her. By God, does anyone believe this patient? This is a liar. She wants to change her room, so she started insulting me because she knows that the system here is strict in housing, and there must be a convincing reason. So she lied, of course." The administrative employee looked at me a little. She looked at me. She didn't know how to believe me. Who are you lying to? Because it is really impossible. I mean, I didn't have a quarter of an hour to stay there, and we went out to the room and it was clear that no one was there. Also, the room was tidy and fragrant, as if no one had entered it at all. So the employee got up. She wanted to eliminate doubt with certainty. She searched the room, searched the cupboards, searched the drawers, and also searched under the mattresses. I did not find anything. Glory be to God, my Lord. When He exposes the lie, God Almighty reveals it in seconds. The employee, after she searched, was convinced that nothing was perfect. She had a small piece of gum paper in her hand. She did not know. I mean, she did not want to throw it in the room, because at that time there was no trash or anything like that in it, and do not want to throw it away in the air of the residence. When she was out, she opened the window of the room just like that. She came to throw the paper, only to find the smoke extinguisher placed on the window from the outside. She took the extinguisher. She came to his light and said to her, "What is this?" His light came out in the extinguisher. She said to her, "By God, I don't know what he knows about me." She said to her, "Listen, tomorrow you and the girls will be with me at 10 in the morning, at 10 in the morning." And in fact, the second day came at 10 in the morning and no one came. The day after that passed, and the one after that as well, and the one after that, and also, and no one came. This chaos took them almost a week away from lectures and university, and they would not come at all. She said, "Okay, nothing will harm me. God willing, they will be gone for a month. They are destined to return to work or lose their future. I mean, this is their university." Of course, the housing employee in the administration was able to access their information and also get the numbers of their guardians. She wanted to solve the problem amicably between them. That is, she did not want to make it bigger and reach their parents and reach the university administration and the dean and the like, so she would enter into a bigger and bigger maze. At the same time, she was responsible for the female students in the dormitory, meaning all the blame would fall on her head. So she said, "Solve the problem quickly before reaching the university administration." She knocked on Arej. She said to her, "Come down to the office quickly now." She said, "I'm coming." I sat there. She told me, "You don't know any information about the students, for example, their university number or their cell phone numbers, something like that." I told her, "By God, frankly, I don't have any information, and I don't know any information about them. I only have Nora's number. If you want me, I'll give you a call." She said, "Yes, I swear to God." She called on her pocket more than once. Her phone was off. She asked me, "When was the last time you saw her? When did she work?" She said, "By God, after the problem that happened and identifying them, the girls disappeared, even in university. I mean, I never saw them again. And also, I didn't enter the room with him." She said to me, "Okay, it's basically a move on their part, thinking that I should forget about the commotion, but the first time you see them keeping up, come and tell me." And actually, at the beginning of the second week, she entered the room light saying, "I'm going along," meaning there's no peace, no talking, I'm dying in problems. She went down to manage it and taught her, and she goes out to the room and drags her down to the office. Then she said to her, "Okay, you're done with your game. Give me your university number." Nora, of course, as she taught you, is a very rude girl. She said to her, "No, I don't know who you are. Who should I give you the university number? What do you want in the first place?" She said, "It's strange, by God, you don't want to give me the university number." "Who do you mean?" "Okay. Of course, Nora doesn't want it. She gives her the university number because she knows that if she enters it into the system, it will reveal all her data and take her father's number. And you know that also in the girls' residence, they always keep the data of the guardians because something happens and nothing communicates with them at all times. The important thing is that the employee went to her second friend in the same office, of course. This friend of mine said, "Nora, this is rude and immoral." This friend of mine is more crazy than her. I was happy. Then I told her, "You see, there is a student, and she doesn't want to give me the university number." She said to me, "You are seriously afraid of a student. Where is she?" She said, "She is sitting with me in the office. Come and understand with her, and go to her and rub off on her dignity." The land is asphalt. She was able to take the university number from it and gave it to her owner, the employee. Let us call her Munira. I don't know how this name came to my mind, but Come on. The important thing is that this employee, Munira, entered the university number and everything and got all her data into the system. She took her father's number and called it. Of course, Arej was at that time. The office is with them, so she says to me, "If you see the coldness that Nora was in when she called her father, you will not believe it." She says that the coldness and calmness in her is not normal, and she is not afraid of anything, even though she is facing a housing problem, and this employee, Munira, is upset with her father. I mean, she is supposed to be afraid. But do you know the reason? Then the employee, Munira, called on Abu Nora. "Hello," said. "Yes, my command." She said to him, "Dear, if you would please come to the house now because your daughter is in trouble." He said to her, "What's wrong?" She and Soot said to her, "Do you know if I came to see what I would complain about?" He said, "Yes, I complain about you because you are the only one who lacks good manners and is questioning my daughter's upbringing." I now knew why Nora put one man on another, and she has no power to tell anyone, and I still haven't seen anything. Listen when the administration came. What happened the first time? He entered the administration. Nora stood up and hugged him and sat crying. I was shocked by the amount of hypocrisy in this girl. No, and I heard what she said to him as she sat crying bitterly. She said, "They wronged your daughter." "Oh, my father, oh, gentle, oh, gentle." She says, "I swear to God, I'm sitting there in shock. No, it's not normal that I'm sitting seeing him." He was sitting consoling her and comforting her. He said to her, "Who wronged you?" She says, "Who wronged you?" She says and goes and points out, "What's wrong with my father?" He got up and looked down at me. He said to me, "Don't make fun of your face. This is your colleague. Instead of putting her on your head and honoring her and saying, 'You are close to her,' you go and complain." She says, "I didn't speak." She came out like that in Munira. I want her. She speaks because she knows everything. Munira also says that she was nervous and afraid. I mean, she had not confronted a man, so she heard who her crazy friend in the office was. She said, "Hey, you see Matt inside a cafe. Respect the place. Then don't be ashamed of your face. Raise your voice to the girls." Nora says and responds to her. She defends her father and screams and shouts. She says, "I swear to God I am like this, holding him over my ears and sitting crying. I want this problem to be solved." She says the father came and took out his light and came to go out with the door. Nora's colleague stood at the door and said to him, "By God, she won't come out." She confesses to your daughter and brings the girls who were with her in the room as well. Of course, he is a man and he does not want to put his hand on me, so Nora, his daughter, defended him. She pushed her mother against the door like this and fell. She pulled her father and they left. We went away. Munira and I went and took her to the office to rest. She raised the phone to the security guards and said to them, "It's all a joke." And she said to them, "See, he's coming to you now. Don't let him go out. Get drunk." The gate says, 5 minutes after informing the security guards, we hear the sound of gunfire and we hear the men. Pray for the prophet and remember God. And Nora is sitting screaming, saying, "We are foolish." Abu Nora appeared with a weapon in the car, and he had a urinary tract. When he got out of our place, he was tense and one time angry. When he saw the guards, the security prevented him from leaving and closed the gate. They said that he had lost his nerve. He took the weapon from his car and shot them. Thank God they were all safe. There were no injuries. One of them was injured, but he had a bullet in his hand. They called on the police and arrived at the site. They started the situation. They caught Abu Sarah and Sarah herself and took them to the police station. They investigated. What happened? What happened? What is this nonsense? They informed them of everything. They said to them, Okay, tomorrow we will take over the administration of the university housing, and we will hear from everyone. They took Nora after that and took her home and left her father with them in detention. Sorry, I may not have explained this thing at the beginning of the story. Nora, of course, lives in the same area as there is university in her, but her house is far from the university once, so she had to live in the important residence. The second day in the morning, they took her father, passed by her, and went to the housing administration. They sat together, and Munira went. She knocked on Arej and told her, "Arej, get down quickly. It is necessary." She says Arej, after she came down, she was shocked. I mean, she saw the security men with the policemen. Noah was sitting crying in her father's arms. She was surprised. Munira said to me, "Sit down, sit down." She said, "I sat down while I was nervous." One time, Munira came out and said to me, tell them. What did they do in the room? What did you see?" You are actually saying, "My throat is dry." I can't open my mouth, I swear I'm saying a word at the same time. I said that if I explained to them that I was afraid they would say this is a lie. So I encouraged myself and told them about everything in boring detail from A to Z. They looked at Nora and they said to her, "Where are the girls who were with you?" Nora said, "By God, I don't know them and I have no good in clowning and I don't know what they said to her. Relax the girls." Where is it that she does not want to speak and is playing the role of the innocent girl in front of her father, so that he does not discover her lie and then finds out that she is a traitor in general? After they put pressure on her and pressured her, she confessed to them and gave them all the numbers of the girls who were able to reach her one. But at that time she was attending university, and the remaining two were theirs. What a feeling of being away from the university for 2 weeks. So when they brought this girl from the university, they said we should talk to them, because it is possible that there are things that Nora is hiding, or information that she does not want to teach us about. They said to her, "How many of you were there exactly?" When I opened the door and saw her, she said, "Honestly, we are 3 girls, and with Nora, we will be 4. The 2 girls who were with us and were looking for them now, I honestly don't know them." They said to her, "Sorry, but how do you not know them when you are so sensitive?" "It's important." She says, "By God Almighty, I don't know them." I know them superficially, but from far and wide. And when she gathers them in the room, for example, she knocks on him and says to me, "Come." They say to her, "Good at university." Sometimes you don't talk about them, for example, or you don't even know the classes. Honestly, yes, I know the classes they attend and such, and sometimes it means our lecture is the same and we attend together. They said, "God bless you, but we have arrived." They sent Munira to the university and told her to go to the doctors who attend these classes and ask them about the girls who are missing them. 2 weeks and Munira actually flew to the university. I asked them to give her their names and university numbers and everything. I returned to the office. I entered their numbers into the system and looked up all their information. I took their father's numbers and checked on them. Please, it is not an issue. They honored us with the housing administration, and they brought your daughters with you. They said the housing administration is us. We are originally residents of the city. Then the university is 9 kilometers away from us. We are not obliged to register in the residence. Of course, the call was on the speaker. The first time one of the policemen heard this answer, he said to Munira that the line was silent. He looked at the light and said to her, "The girls, how did they get in?" How did they get in? They are not female students in the university residence. Of course, the military man is smart and understanding, but he wants the answer to come out of her because her father is sitting. He said to her, "And the last one is with you." I mean, you don't want to confess. She said, "By God, this is what I have." I mean, why should I lie to you? Go and ask them. The soldier got up and took the receiver. He himself called on them and told them to come. Now, you and your daughters, son of lawful son, my daughters are not at fault, and they are not even in the residence. He said to him, If you please, then come. And in fact, they went to the administration and brought their daughters with them. Of course, about everything you are sitting there, you see this in front of Arej's eyes. Arej was among them. After they arrived, the soldier rose, wanting to feel the girl's pulse a little. In fact, the picture became clear to him. He understood al-Khoft and knew what had happened, but he wanted everything to come out of them. He said to Munira, Get the extinguisher, take it and put it on the table. He said to them, Who entered it? Of course, there were a number of cigarettes in it and something like that. The two girls looked at each other, nervous. Their father was beside them once, frightened. They said, Okay, then, why not Nora who brought her? For example, Nora appeared among them. She was shocked and said, Oh, dog girls, I'll show you. Look at what Nora said. After a while, of course, one of the fathers, when he saw the soldier sitting accusing the girls when they weren't even living in the residence, said to him, My dear, do you think you have no right to speak? They are like this, and they are not even in the residence. How can you accuse them? The soldier said to him, Please, I am just talking. Do not interrupt me. He came back and looked at the girls. He said to them, Okay, you don't want to know who entered the smoke? The hookah men that I saw. Arej, who entered it at such and such time? How do you enter the gate when the security guard is not there? I think it's more than that. He doesn't want to explain. I say it, and that's it. Of course, Sarah, after the friends of these two girls said, Why wasn't she the one who entered the smokehouse? She stood up at this moment when the military man asked them about hookahs. She suppressed all the hatred in her chest and exposed them. She said, literally, girls in. He had a relationship with the security guard, and he was the one who took care of their affairs and let them enter the residence with anything. By the way, Uncle, you and him saw that when your daughters used to leave the house from your home, they thought they were working. You were fooling them. They were hanging out outside with what they didn't talk to, and they came back home, thinking they had finished work. Of course, the soldier, I will not tell you, the smile split his face, and this is something that he wanted to reach for a long time ago, and he was sitting digging, wanting to get out of them. I congratulate him on weaning him from solving the problem easily, and in general they called the security guard. The security guard came. Of course, he could not deny it because all the fingers of accusation are directed at him. They punished him and fired the girls from their jobs. They made them sign a pledge, and God knows what happened to them in the house. Abu Nora also took legal measures because he was carrying weapons illegally and in places where he was not authorized to carry weapons. Finally, as for Arej, Munira gave her the keys to a new shelf. You think that's it? The problem was solved and everyone went on their way, and Arej got a new key for him. And that's it. No, my love. Our story started from here. After Arej received the key to her new room, I was surprised that her room number was 112. So I asked Munira before she left. She told her, sorry, but what floor is my room on? She told her on the 3rd floor, and the first time she told me that my adrenaline was 1,000, my heart sank. The 3rd floor in our building, I heard it with Doma, and one day it happened in the parking lots of most of the female students after she told me that. I was honestly ashamed to tell her, no, let me, that is, on the 2nd floor with my friends and Zay. So I said, come on, Awafi is meeting new students on the 3rd floor. I took the key off and went to my room on the 2nd floor to organize my things. I told her to the new room on the 3rd floor while I was sitting arranging my clothes and books like this. Noah was looking at me with looks that I swear to God, she was killing me. I didn't know exactly what that was. the looks that had no explanation. The important thing is that I arranged my things and everything and went out to the third floor. As soon as I arrived, I was shocked. She said, "It's quiet, it's not normal. I expected it to be a little lively. I mean, like the second and first floors, and there are female students like that." She says, "I was surprised that there was not a female student living above." She went down to Munira Adit. The keys, I said to her, "Sorry, my love, I don't live alone. Upstairs, see if someone will live with me or clean the room." Listen, Arej, you know me. I never sent you a request, but now, by God Almighty, the first and second floors are all okay, so stay on the third floor until I find out which student will live with you. Or if any student comes out from the second or first floor, I will put you down. As for the present time, I apologize to you, Arej. By God, there are no rooms available except on the third floor. So, there are no rooms available except on the third floor. So, she has no choice but to live on the third floor, and at the same time it is impossible. She goes down to live with Noah on the second floor, and Orady is holding on to her. So she started thinking to herself and said, "Okay, why don't I go talk to one of my friends on the second floor?" She comes to live with me upstairs, and I swear it's a nice idea. Of course, Arej has 3 friends that she can trust, which are Sarah, Rahaf, and Najal after she left. They had the second floor, and she knocked on the door. She entered there and greeted them and everything, and told them that she needed one of them to live with her on the third floor. 2 of them told her, forget, this thing is happening." She turned to the third. The third, who is my niece, flirts with her and everything and never refuses her request. But this time I was shocked by her response. She said to her, "By God, if you had greeted my head and my legs, I would not have gone to the third floor with you. With your mind," she says, "Arej, I'm done giving up. I mean, I had one last chance, and its success rate was 40%. I mean, I might succeed, and I might not. I should call my father and ask him to transfer it to me. I paid a sum and went out to rent abroad. Of course, I know my father would never agree, but I said, let me talk to him about this issue and make him understand what is happening in the residence. I might change his mind. In fact, I called him and greeted him and everything and said to him, 'My father, do you think what is happening in the residence is such and such and such and such?' And he said to me, 'Listen, my daughter, pray for the Prophet and see that all that is happening in the residence is just idle talk and nonsense. On the contrary, my daughter, it is a bittersweet opportunity that you live alone, so that you can study at your own convenience and get good grades. My father, have mercy on your mother. Understand what is the chaos. I live alone and study and get grades. It's a joke. It's a joke. Haunted. No, and I will also add more poetry to you, my father. You see, the electricity in our residence is impossible for a week to go by without it being turned off 2 or 3 times. I mean, like that. Imagine, for God's sake, that I am alone in the room and the electricity is turned off with a death that you would be happy with for your daughter." Her father said, "Look, what do you mean, my daughter? She wasted money and I don't want to. I will pay, by God, so that the full amount will be delivered to you now in my account, but on the condition that you do not go outside the residence. This amount is spent on yourself as personal expenses. In fact, Abu Arej was very afraid for the girl, meaning he did not want her to go outside the residence, and he would not feel a sense of safety while she was outside. Of course, at that moment when she spoke to her father, it was her. When the girls were in the room, they told her, 'Okay, Arej, we have a solution. During the night, you sleep with us, and during the day, go out to your room.' She said, 'Okay.' I liked their idea, and I put my trust in God. Then I spoke to Najla, and it was almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I told him, 'Son, I have some things and such furniture. I want you to help me." When we take her upstairs to the new room, she says, "Okay, I don't have a problem." We walked and actually went to the third floor, and I swear it is not a part of the residence. Very, very neglected. She says, "God bless you." You see the garbage piled up at the doors and dirt like that everywhere. The place already has a depressing appearance due to the mold and dirt that we saw. My son and I knew that even the female workers did not go out to the third floor, which means something very terrifying. Even the girls say that those who graduated before us saw the horrors. The important thing is that they say we walked and imagine that there is only one entrance to the third floor. This means that you enter and a lady walks with the sib, then you turn to the left and you find the room. Samina, for God's sake. And we opened the room. We entered and found the room. I mean, one time she didn't miss her son and his son as well. She didn't fail to help me after we finished. She said to me, "I'm sorry." I see. But they arrived at the girl's house. I went out. I said to her, "I'm sorry, but how do I get out?" I have a simple problem, and she actually says, "Stop her Pepsi man like that," and she doesn't look back. I mean, if I told her, but it was broken, and in fact, I didn't cheat, frankly. I mean, I stood up until I saw her. She went down and came back to my room, took a shower, and threw myself on the chair. I threw it. I said, "I want to sleep like the people of the cave sleep. I'm tired of dying. The important thing is that I turned off. The light that was next to me was on the comedians, and I plugged my phone into the charger, and I ended up sleeping until a little while later. They were knocking on the girls. They told me to get down. I told him, impossible, impossible. Forget. I just took a shower and I am tired. I refuse to sleep in the wind for an hour like this, and I come to you at night. They told me no, and you see, by God, you are ruining your schedule, and I slept in the afternoon with a headache. And you were drawn to the lectures and I don't know what, and they actually convinced me, but I told them on the condition that they told me, "What did you say?" We moved, my beloved. Come and stand for me on the sib, and I came. And in fact, Johnny and I went down with them, and they took me to the room, except for a few of them. I unwrapped a carton and took out 2 Bluetooth headphones, like this, a small time, but with the voice of God he will not show you. She says, "I told them, no girls, no, my head is exploding." One of them said, "I unpacked her cupboard. Take 2 pills, don't make too much fuss." In fact, I took 2 Panadol pills, and one of the girls got up, connected her Bluetooth phone to the speakers, turned on my fashion, and they pulled me with them to dance, and I, by God Almighty, am not comfortable. It was 9 o'clock, and I said, "It's not like it's bedtime, it's okay. By God, I'm sorry, to be honest, but for God's sake, I'm still tall. But let his son take you and want you to sleep in her room." His daughter said, "Honestly, in front of my eyes and head. But there's a psycho in my room who doesn't like any strange girl coming to her. I'm afraid I'll get you, and tomorrow the management will come down and complain about me." She said, "Ares, do you know that I am going to sleep in my room, but I want you to give me a lift?" They said to her, "Frankly speaking, it is impossible for us to deliver the door to you at this time, but we can stop you like the first time, and you go and run to the room." She said, "Okay, I don't have a problem, come on." They actually arrived at the room, but she did not enter the room this time. It was like the first one. "Listen to what happened," she said. "I entered the room and I was floating. One time I threw myself on the bed, and I did not say it until the remembrance of sleep. I did not protect myself before sleeping. You say that I had wiped it on my stomach with my head facing the left on the wall. I remembered that I had not set my phone to 9 a.m. in the morning for the lecture, and my phone was broken. The comedians next to me are fine, and I am out of the strength of laziness that is within me, and by God Almighty, I am unable to raise my head, so I extended my hand like this, sitting on the mobile phone with my face facing the wall. And while I was sitting patting like this, I caught a foreign body, and the body was very cold, and the texture was like the texture of skin that has blisters on it, but it is dry. I still haven't realized what you mean. I said, maybe in a moment of fatigue or something like that. Then I lowered my hand for a while, sitting still until the day I grabbed my fingers and said, I screamed and pulled my hand forcefully like that. He took the blanket and warmed me up. She said, I swear to God, 2 hours under the blanket. I sat crying and suffocating at the same time because of the heat, and I wanted to. I reach for the mobile phone because I want to tell the girls they will catch me dying. Say, it's been 3 hours while I'm under the blanket. I mean, I'm suffocating, and I'm afraid at the same time. If I unpack it, I'll see someone. Of course, I'm covering my face like this, and with the back of my hand out, but from under the blanket, she says, and I sat thumping and thumping like that. I didn't find the phone. I called, and I sent my hand like this the second time. I said, maybe it fell and nothing. I also did not find it. I was afraid all the time while I was pulling it. My hand was like this. My hand came to the charger cord. I pulled it with me at all times. Fortunately for me, my phone turned out to be tangled in the charger cord. I disconnected like this while I was under the blanket. I opened WhatsApp and entered the group. The girls and I sent them a voice message while I was sitting, crying and collapsing in it. I did not explain anything to them, but I said to them, Girls, follow me, I am dying. She said,